Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious Podcast. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously.
Oh, yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And on today's episode of the Ambitchious Podcast, I'm going to give you 20 signs that the people who you're surrounding yourself with, that you're closest to, that you see the most, that you spend the most time with, are actually toxic for you and what to do about it. I think that this season, I've had a lot of redundancy in the content that I'm putting out. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a way where it's like, there's a reason for the redundancy. There's a reason why I keep talking about the same shit over and over and over again, and people still don't fucking get it. So I am not only doing this podcast for you out there in Ambitchious land, but I'm also doing it for myself, because what I have noticed lately is some of the people who I feel should be very supportive of me and the closest to me are actually giving toxicity. You know what I'm saying? It's giving toxicity. So I want to talk about the 20 signs that the people closest to you are not good for you. They're actually toxic for you, and what to do about it. So we're going to get right into this podcast today. I am so excited for this because I've been struggling. I always am the type of person, if you really know me, I always give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I never try to judge a book by its cover. I always make excuses for people's bad behavior because I know what it feels like to be lonely and angry and resentful and stressed out. And I never want other people to feel that way. But then the smarter part of me, the higher self, Katie, knows that everyone has their life contract and everyone just has to show up and do the best that they can. And some people's best is trash, and that's okay. But the more that we understand that, the better life is going to be. So we're going to get right down to the nitty gritty real quick. And I really deeply desire that this resonates with you. And I hope that if you are dealing with people around you who are toxic, and I go through these signs, I deeply desire for you to take a step back and really take a consensus of the people around you. And also, how are you playing into the toxicity? So the first sign, and this is like one of the most telltale signs, the first sign that the people that are closest to you are actually toxic for you is, number one, you feel drained after every interaction, not nourished. You know, when you go out to dinner with someone, or you go and have coffee with someone, or even when you talk to someone on the phone, the people who you're talking to, the people who you're giving your precious life force energy to, the people that you are giving your most precious resource to, which is time, because you can always make more money, you cannot create more time. You have to really, truly make sure that these people are pouring into you, that they're speaking victory into you, that when you leave them, you feel better than you did before you saw them. And if you're feeling drained, and if you're feeling sad, and if you're feeling just like limp and lifeless and just kind of blah, you know, your body keeps the score, guys. Your body keeps the score. Your body is always going to tell you what is and what is not right for you. And just because someone, like I always meet these people and they're like, I don't know why you don't like so-and-so. Like, she's never done that to me. She doesn't act like that to me. And I'm like, yeah, because we're different fucking people. Like, what bothers you and what your trauma is from childhood and what your stories are and what you've accumulated over the years of not enoughness and anger and resentment and anxiety and depression or whatever you're going through is so different than how I grew up and all the things that I'm carrying through life. And usually I'm a pretty good judge of character. So when I hear those things, like people say, oh, I don't know why, she's really nice to me and I haven't seen that in her and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, just wait, bitch. Just you wait. Or the person's just so checked out, or they really don't care. So it doesn't even bother them. I think sometimes to be ignorant is so blissful, because the more awake you are in this three-dimensional reality, the more that you realize that we're deeply entrenched in the matrix, that we're in many ways on a slave energy planet, okay? The more you're going to really have things rub you the wrong way. And then the people who are just sleeping, they're just like walking, talking zombies. They're the ones that things that bother you may not bother them. And that's okay, and that's okay. So think about it. Think about right now, all the people that you're around who just drain the fucking energy out of you, that are energy vampires. And that when you leave that person, whether it's a dinner or coffee or drinks or just like catching up over the phone or doing a FaceTime or whatever, if you feel worse, if not better, then that is the number one telltale sign that that person is not healthy for you. Now, I am not saying, before we get too deep into this podcast, I am not saying to just cut everyone out of your life and just be some kind of a fucking feral animal living in the woods. I'm not talking about that. But when you do spend time with them, you have to, first of all, get yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and energetically prepared. And you may want to limit contact. So if you would see them once a week, maybe you see them once a month, because you know that the energy expenditure is going to be so great that you almost like don't have the time to, rebatterize. I don't even know if this is a word. I'm just making it up here, but rebatterize your batteries. Okay. Charge them. That's the fucking word. Listen, I just came back from Portugal. My English is like freaking half and half right now. I'm literally searching for words half the time. So I apologize. But so think about it. Are you feeling drained? Are you feeling nourished when you leave that person? The second part of this is you downplay your joy around them because they are never there to celebrate you. How many people in your life do you have that that no matter what happens to you, even if you won like $150 million in the lottery, let's just say for sake of conversation, that they would be so genuinely happy for you? I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of people in my life that would be genuinely happy for me. And sometimes it's hard, it's difficult to be an overachiever and a go-giver and always showing up a very specific way, because people tend to have kind of a target on your back, because all of your strengths and all of your accolades and everything that you've achieved in your life only makes them, now you're not making them, they're allowing it to happen to them, right? Because we all have total sovereign autonomy over our reality, but they're allowing your greatness to make them feel less than. And secretly, they fucking hate you. You guys, I hate to say this, but there's so many people around you right now that you think love you and like would ride or die for you, and they fucking hate you. And you know that they fucking hate you, and you still make excuses for them, and you still downplay your goals, your dreams, your wins, your aspirations around them. You never want to look like you're doing too much. You never want to be a bragger. I mean, no one should brag anyways, but it's nice to have girlfriends and people in your life that you can celebrate your wins with, and vice versa. So if you have to downplay your big goals, your big wins, if the W's don't come out to play around this person, that is a sign that this person, no matter who they are, is toxic for you. Okay, the next one. Number 3, they only reach out when they need something. They never reach out to check on you. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're listening to this podcast and you have my motherfucking cell phone number, it is a goddamn privilege. And if you're texting me constantly, asking me advice, trying to get nutrition advice, spiritual advice, business advice, life advice. I had a girl the other day text me about a parasite cleanse for a friend of a friend of a friend. I'm like, I haven't talked to you in 5 years. I'm not a parasite cleanse expert. I mean, I know a couple of things, but I'm not an expert by any means. Like, go get ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, like, why am I that person? But if you listen to my podcast a couple of weeks ago, we teach people how to treat us. So somewhere along the line, I let this person little too close, or I was a little too nice, or I was a little too giving, or I was a little too sharing, or whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I have Katie's number. I can text her and ask her fucking cockamamie, tomfoolery, fuckery all goddamn day. And no, you can't. It's the same thing when people reach out to me to pick my brain. Babe, I don't need a free coffee. I don't need a fucking free meal from you. Okay. If you want to work with me in a mentorship container, or you want to come on my app, I don't work for free. You will get 1,000,000 times the value out of working with me or the app, but I don't work for free. You know, everyone has to pay the troll toll. I'm sorry, but this is just how it goes. So if you notice when you pick up your phone and when you hear the, hey girl, like when you read that text, hey girl, delete it. Dude, I swear to God, if one more person puts me on a fucking group text, just raping my mind about shit that has nothing to do with me, or putting me on these massive email threads, or DMing me on Instagram and asking me all kinds of fucking bamboozlement, I am going to blow my motherfucking top. And I know that I'm not just speaking for myself. I know that I'm speaking your language right now. I know that you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, Katie goes through this too. You have no fucking idea what I go through on a daily basis. The fucking audacity is on another level. So we have to protect our boundaries. And when people are checking in on you, but they're really just masking it and veiling it as like, I need something, stop responding. I have literally been deleting people's text messages. I like see it. I'm like, nope, delete. And I know that sounds so fucking mean and gangster, but like, dude, I only have this one life on this earth. And I help so many people over the last 25 years plus of my career. I have helped tens of thousands of women, maybe even more because of my television show. I don't know. You never can quantify these things, right? I've done my job. I've done so much free shit. I've given so much of myself over the years. Like, I am fucking done. Okay. If I want to help you out of the goodness of my heart, I'm glad to. But right now, I only have time for my husband and my family and my clients who pay me, my mentorship clients, my app clients, the people who come to my studio and do all their wellness and do all their spirituality and do all their health. And I have like a little small group of people who I'm social with. And it's a very small circle, very small. That is all that I physically have time for. Like, I want to have more hobbies. I want to golf more. I want to garden more. I want to do like, stay at home mom, dog mom shit. I don't want to answer a bunch of free fucking shit from you. And so, people will be like, oh, she's so crazy. She's a fucking bitch. She's so mean. Yeah, I'm fucking mean. And yeah, I'm a bitch because I have given my left and right labia over the years to all these people. And I genuinely desire from the bottom of my little black heart, okay, to have people actually really check in on me and really care and not ask, and by the way, this thing, fill in the blank. Like, it's enough. So if you have people that just reach out when they need something, it's toxic, it's low vibrational frequency, and we have to just excommunicate it, whether it's deleting, delegating, disassociating. I don't know what you want to do, but like, just choose one and do it and stick to the fucking recipe. Number 4, you second guess your words constantly and they'll twist them. So have you ever had a friendship or a relationship where you say something and then they take it and then they run with it and they try to manipulate it and they try to gaslight you and they try to do all this fucking bullshit to it? I think especially people like me who grew up, in addiction, in abuse, in not enoughness. I think there's a definite part of me, and I'm going to be totally honest with you, that I do, not anymore. Every so often I fall back into old traps, but I, in the past, was very, I would succumb to that gaslighting, narcissism, and them people twisting my words and using them against me and stuff like that. So if there's even like a sniff of that kind of energy, then that is God telling you this person's not good for you. This person is toxic, and enough is enough. Step away. I can't tell you the women that I coach, and they tell me these stories about guys that they're dating and friends of theirs and all this shit. And I'm like, why would you fucking ever allow that kind of treatment? And it's really crazy too, because some of the people who allow this treatment, not everybody, but so many, I look at these women and friends, whatever, clients, colleagues, whatever, they have high self-esteem. So I'm like, where is this coming from? I'm not Freud. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze anybody here. I'm not trying to therapize anybody, but I'm here to tell you that if you feel like you succumb to that word twisting, gaslighting energy, and it's the same person over and over, and when you leave the conversation, you're like, what the fuck was that? That is how God speaks to you. That is the universe telling you this person is not good for you. Stop the madness. Okay. Number 5, they mock your softness, healing, or growth as if it's performance. I cannot tell you how many people over the years, especially during my spiritual awakening and my spiritual journey over the last 15 years, where if I put up a boundary with them, or if I said I didn't like something, or, I told them that whatever was making me feel a certain way, or I would like raise my voice, or I'd have to get really tough with the person, they would be like, oh, I thought you were so spiritual. This isn't how spiritual people act, like fucking with me. And like, those are the deaths by 10,000 cuts. Cause it just keeps compounding and compounding and compounding. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but this happens to me every so often. And it sometimes in the past, it would make me feel like I have to be like Mother Teresa every fucking day of my life. But that's just not who I am. Like, if you guys really know me, like, I'm half Deepak, I'm half Tupac. I'm fucking gangster, dude. I'm loving and kind and sweet, and I will do anything, and I will bend over backwards. And especially when I'm working with you on your business and trying to achieve a big goal, I will give 150% of myself to help you. But comes a time in the relationship where it's like, God, this is just not the vibe. So if you hear that, if people go, oh, I'm so sweet, I'm so this, I'm so that, oh, I thought you were spiritual. Spiritual people don't act like that, this and that. It's because they're not getting their way with you. So they're hitting below the belt. And that's another sign that the person is toxic for you. And you got to start thinking about how you're going to start keeping them at arm's length. And if they're not someone super close to you, if they're just like a coworker or like just a casual friend, that's when you really have to start thinking like, maybe this isn't for me. Like, everyone comes into our lives, like the old adage, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Not everyone's supposed to stay forever, The next one, number 6, is your boundaries are seen as rejection, not self-respect. I've been talking a lot this season about boundaries because I've been working a lot on my boundaries. It's something that I have to probably work on every day until I take my last breath because of who I am and how I was raised and the trauma I've had in my life. Like, I've had in the past really shitty boundaries because I'm a people pleaser. Well, I'm a reformed people pleaser. I'm working on it. And I know so many of you out there in Ambitchious land listen to this podcast because you also have those people pleasing tendencies for whatever reason. And if you put up a boundary and it's not a mean thing, right? You're just like, hey, it would really help me if fill in the blank, and they see it as like a meanness or a rejection or an angry thing, then they're probably not at your level of consciousness. And you really have to think twice about how much you're allowing them to be in your life. The next one, number 7, this is a goodie. They guilt trip you for changing, even if you're evolving for the better. I cannot tell you, especially when you are trying to level up, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, doesn't matter. If someone says to you like, oh, you've really changed. It's like, yes, of course I really changed. Don't you desire to change? I mean, isn't life a continuous evolution and leveling up and journey? If I was the same person as I was when I was 18 years old, I'd be fucking living in a van down by the river. I would not have the life I have. I would not have the husband or the relationships or the finances or the business or the whatever. So of course you want to evolve. Of course you desire to change. And if they don't want you to change and they're guilt tripping you, it's because they're getting something out of you now, and you changing is going to cut off that artery. It's going to cut off that flow of whatever they're trying to vampire from you. And I want to stop for a second and say, just because someone is acting this way doesn't mean they're a bad person. I think it's human nature to try to take advantage of things and people as much as you possibly can. And I know that I'll get a lot of flack for that, but I'm just speaking on a whole, like from, the big picture reality. So that being said, you don't have to be angry. You don't have to be resentful. You don't have to hold it against the person, but you have to spark your ears up. Those ears need to perk, okay? When you're getting guilt tripped for evolving and growing and changing. This is a really good one. Number 8. This is something that I deal with a lot. Is you eat uncontrollably to unconsciously numb the discomfort of being around them. This can also mean drugs and alcohol as well. So if you have to get drunk to be with a friend, or if you have to get high to hang out with a date, or if you have to binge eat and nervous eat because, you being around your family member makes you feel so shitty, that is how, again, the body keeps the score. That is how God speaks to you. That's how God and the universe says this is not good for you. And because, especially women, because we've had this beaten out of us by the patriarchy, especially us, where we're like, oh, we don't want to be mean and we want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And it's like, no, if you have to binge eat because you need to numb out in whatever way because of whatever is happening, that is the God talking to you and saying, yo, this isn't for you. Make a new choice. The next one is number 9. Their quote unquote jokes always feel like veiled attacks. You know what I'm talking about. Those double-handed jokes. They say something funny, but you're like, ooh, there is some truth to that. I was talking to a friend of mine when I was in Portugal, and he was saying pretty much when people say things and they do a little nervous laugh after, and they're like, oh, I was just kidding. I was just joking. If it makes you feel some sort of way, do not feel like you are being, what's the word? Sensitive. Don't feel like you're being sensitive. You're not. Again, that's how God tells you. This person doesn't like you. This person isn't for you. This person is toxic. This person is low vibrational frequency. Okay. So if someone's busting your balls and it makes you feel some sort of way, and you really go inside and you ask yourself, is this me or is it them? And you're honest with yourself and it comes out that it's them, you need to check yourself before you really wreck yourself. This is the time to step away and be like, you know what? I'm going to really limit my time with this person. Or maybe I'm not going to talk to this person or have them in my life anymore because maybe they've been doing it for a really long time and you've just fucking had enough. Everyone has a fucking breaking point. One of my favorite movies in the whole world is She-Devil, and it has Roseanne Barr and Meryl Streep and a couple other people. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but Mary Fisher is Meryl Streep's character, and she ends up stealing Roseanne Barr's character in the movie. And he comes and lives with her. She's an author. She lives in this beautiful pink palace on the sea and whatever. And Roseanne Barr tries to pretty much systematically take them down. Okay. And at the end of this movie, Mary Fisher comes home to her beautiful home, her beautiful mansion, and his kids are there and the house is a fucking mess and it's just a fuck shit. It's just a shit fuck festival. Okay. And she fucking loses it. And sometimes I'll say to Matt, I'm about to go Mary Fisher in this motherfucker. And he's like, oh shit. I'm going to go in the other room, because everyone, even the people who have literally the most patience in the world, everyone has a breaking point. And so if you've been being treated this way for a really long time, if people have just been, making jokes and busting your balls and, doing those double-handed fucking comments, maybe it's time to really just have a mentee beat and just piece the fuck out. I'm giving you permission if you need it. Number 10, they dismiss your intuition and push you to explain everything. Oh my God. When you have a friendship and someone keeps asking you, but why? But I don't understand. But why? Why? It's like, bitch, you don't have to understand. I don't have to tell you why I feel the way I feel. You don't have to tell me, oh, just get over it. I will fucking get over it when I want to get over it. when people are always, you know, pressing you all the time, it's usually because they feel some sort of way about themselves and they're trying to take you down a couple notches, and they're almost trying to brainwash you to think that what you think and what you feel is not valid. And that is how we have gotten ourselves into the bad places in our lives in the first place, by having people tell us how we feel is not valid. And, when you're a little kid and you're like scared of something, and your parent says like, don't be a little baby. Babies cry. Big girls don't cry. This isn't even scary. This isn't even, instead of being like, yo, I know that this is new and I know that this is a little bit off-putting, but you are so strong and powerful. You can fucking do this. Now, I did not grow up in the era of gentle parenting. And I actually think that gentle parenting to a point is detrimental for children. I think there has to be like a happy medium. But goddamn, man, getting raised by boomers, sometimes you just crave someone just to tell, like, just validate the way that you feel, When I was a little girl, I'll tell you a funny story. My mother's going to fucking kill me for this, but what else? I was telling this to my friends in Portugal. When I was a little girl, my mom took me to swimming classes. And I was really little, like maybe 3, maybe 4. I think more about 3. And I had this cute little swimsuit on, and I had those little bubbles. You remember the bubbles that like went around your waist with like a little clip, and then the thing would like keep you buoyant? And I went to the Boys and Girls Club where they had this big swimming pool. And I know I was only 3 years old, but like, when you're little, you have like crushes on people. I don't know if I'm the only pervert that was like 3 years old crushing on like an elder, but my swim instructor was so hot. And I remember I was like, oh my God, he's so cute. He's like Prince Charming. And I'll never forget, I was afraid to swim because I had like a little drowning experience with my dad once in a lake. And I think I was just afraid, which is probably why they put me in swim class, because I almost drowned. My dad literally couldn't find me in the murky water. That's another story for another day. Shout out to my dad. Thanks for saving my life. Anywho. So the fucking swim instructor just picked me up and just like threw me in the deep end. And I like was like, what the fuck? And I remember I got so scared I shit my pants. And I remember like feeling the shit come out of my ass. Like I could literally still feel the turd like just emerging like a turtle head, like, hello. And the thing came flying out like a missile. And I put my hand up and I was like, fuck. And I probably didn't know the word fuck back then. Well, actually, I probably did. Mike and Terry Boyd raised me, but I was like, okay. I was like, help. And so the swim instructor, his name is Mario. He was like, yes. I was like, I had an accident. I need to get out of the pool, whatever. So he pulled me out of the pool. And I just remember waddling over to my mom in my little cute swimsuit. And I had this big load in my pants. And my mother took me in the fucking dressing room, and I was crying. And my mother's like, why did you do this? Why did you shit your pants? Why are you such like a baby? Blah, 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 blah. And of course I'm like, dude, I almost drowned. Like, give me a fucking break, lady. And I'll never forget, she smacked me in my ass because I was crying, because this is what boomer parents used to do to their like, millennial children. And she smacked me in the ass, and the shit came flying out both sides of my little Pampers. And I'll never forget. And maybe that's why I'm a fecophiliac. Maybe that's why I'm obsessed with shit now as an adult, because that was like one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. Now, fast forward like 13, 14 years. I was Miss Taunton. So I was getting ready for the Miss Massachusetts America pageant. And I was doing some philanthropic work at the Boys and Girls Club. And I ran into this, he was a police officer. He was a sergeant, and he's like, I remember you from somewhere. Your name sounds so familiar. And we were just shooting the shit at the Boys and Girls Club. And I was like, what's your name? And he told me, and I was like, oh my God, you were my swim instructor when I was like 3 years old. He's like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And he was still handsome and whatever. And I was like, do you remember I shit my pants? And there I was with like my crown on and whatever. And I was like, oh God, one of the most embarrassing days of my life. And he's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, fuck. So I'm not going to get any of that ass, even though he was like way older than me. Anyways, the reason why I'm telling this story is I think about how as children, obviously I'm talking to you as an adult, but as children, this is where it all starts. Like people tell you, like, you're not a baby, stop crying, or like, this is nothing to be afraid of. And it's like, then what happens is when you're walking home at night and a guy's following you, you don't think to like maybe pull out your Kubotan or put your keys in between your fingers or have your mace or your pepper spray or whatever. Or if you're like me and you're drunk at a party in college with all your friends and a guy moves 2 bureaus against doors so he can sexually assault you, and the whole time it's happening, I'm like, no, this isn't happening. This is not real. Because as children, we're taught to not trust our intuition. And then what happens is the fucked up people in our lives keep doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on trying to dismiss your intuition. And you have to explain all the reasons why you feel the way you feel. I mean, this starts at such a young age, but do you really want to be an adult and keep allowing these types of things to happen to you? Like, I don't know about you, but like, you don't want to be me trying to get laid by the guy that watched me shit my pants when I was 3. Okay. Moving on. Number 11, you feel pressure to stay the same so you don't outgrow this person or these people. This is something that I deal with a lot with my mentorship clients. I give them these incredible ideas and I teach them how to do all these incredible things. And I literally tell them, if you listen to me, you're going to 10x your finances within a year. And I see them start to self-sabotage. And I know the reason why they're doing this is because they are so afraid of like, what if I get too big? Everybody thinks that people are afraid of failure, but I think that more people are actually afraid of success. And I know that you're going to be like, really, Katie? And I'm telling you, yeah, really. I'm a coach. I coach tens of thousands of women over the last 25 years. I've seen it all. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, people are more afraid of success than they are of failure. And it's because they know that, well, we know, the people that I'm working with know that if they go to the next level, then they might not be the same vibrational frequency of the people that they've been around for the last how many years. And that scares the fucking piss out of them, even if it is in a subconscious way. Like they may not even know that they're doing it. The next one is you lower your own personal standards just to stay connected to the person. This happens so much. I don't do this anymore. I really check myself before I go down to that place, but it's so easy to get caught up in that, guys. Don't feel bad if this is something that you've been doing for a really long time, but remember, when you know better, you do better. And if you don't, you're a dumb motherfucker. Next, 13, you feel lonelier when you're with them than when you're without them. I don't have anyone like this in my life right now, but I know a lot of my clients and people in my life do have people like this. And that is like the saddest fucking shit in the world. Like, can you imagine you feel lonelier when you're with someone? I hear this a lot with people's spouses and significant others more than friends. It's really sad. And I know that people are like, well, it's easy for you, Katie. You have a perfect relationship with your husband. It's not perfect by any means, but we are best friends and we are ride or dies for each other. When I'm with him, I feel like my fullest expression of myself, but I cannot tell you how many women that I coach that are either in a marriage or a very serious relationship with someone else, a partner, and they are just like, I don't even feel like I'm with someone. That again, the loneliness is God and the universe telling you this person is not for you. And then we, because we are HBICs, we think that we can manipulate. And if we're just better and we just try harder and we just love them more, that we're going to feel different. And that's usually not the case. So I'm not telling you to go get a divorce by any means, but I am telling you that it probably won't get better if you feel this way already. So you're going to have to do some really deep spiritual healing and some real serious coaching to help you get out of that place. The next one is, oh, this is a bitch. Number 14, they celebrate your setbacks more than your success. I know this sounds crazy, but you ever like tell someone like, and I can even say this like on social media, like, you know, when you're having a bad day and you post on social media, like, I don't really try to do this. It's just not my vibe, but I see so many people like, oh, I have cancer, or, oh, I'm like, you know, I have high blood pressure, or like my husband and I are getting divorced, and everyone comments like, girl, like whatever. But then when you post like, hey, I just made 6 figures in the last month, or hey, I just had this incredible success, no one gives a fuck. People are addicted to darkness. They are addicted to low vibrational frequency shit, and they are addicted to just bullshit. People love fucking drama, and they want to see you do bad, because if you're doing bad, then it makes them feel better about themselves. And that is not a true friend. So if you have someone who gets more excited when you and more loving and more kind, and they want to listen to you more when you're having a bad day versus when you're having a win, when you're having a W, then this is your wake-up call to be like, ooh, I got to change this relationship. I don't know how I'm going to change this relationship. I'm not telling you how to do it. It could simply be having a conversation like, hey, you know, I've noticed like every time that I'm in a bad place, you're really there for me. But like if I have a W, you're not really very happy for me. And see what they say, you know, put the ball in their court, see what happens, you know, fuck around and find out. The next one is number 15. You edit your softness because they label it as weakness, like crying, getting upset, feeling depressed, having anxiety, whatever, maybe you being sick. This is a huge wake-up call for people. If you have to edit who you truly are as a loving, kind, feeling, spiritual being having this human experience, then this person is not for you. And I don't give a fuck who they are. The next one, number 16, is they get uncomfortable when you express your boundaries calmly. So if you say to someone like, hey, it would really help me if fill in the blank, and they're like, what? And they want to try pumping you up. It's because they're not used to you expressing your boundaries calmly. Maybe in the past you've like had like a fisticuffs over it. And this is like way out of the ballpark for them. So this is making them feel some sort of way. And again, this is another, like, it's a sniff test. You know, if you tell someone calmly, like, hey, it really hurt me when you said this, or you did this, or you acted this way, or you did this thing, whatever, fill in the blank. Or, hey, you know, I know that before I let you do A, B, and C to me, but going forward, I don't really want that anymore. That isn't something that I'm here for. And they freak the fuck out. Again, that's the God in the universe telling you, this person doesn't fucking like you. They don't fucking like you. And sometimes it's your sister. Sometimes it's your dad. Sometimes it's your cousin. Sometimes it's your husband. It doesn't have to be the cat down the road. Sometimes it could just be the person that's closest to you. That's why this is all about the person closest to you are toxic. I could do millions of podcasts about boundaries with outside people that don't matter. That's fucking easy. This is the hard work. This is the difficult shit when you're dealing with people that are in your inner sanctum. Number 17, you've caught yourself hiding parts of who you are around them. This is so huge. I'm not talking about letting your freak flag fly 24/7. But if you can't tell someone, like I cannot tell you how many people that I know that they tell different versions of shit to different people. And it's like, what the fuck? Like you told Sarah down the street this, and you told Kelly over here that, and you told Marjorie over here this, but you told me a totally different story. And it's like, that story is different because each one of those people are getting a different version of that person. And to me, a real true friend, a lover, a partner, a family member is going to love and accept you exactly for who you are. They may not love it. They may try to give you advice, but they're going to accept you for who you are. And if they don't, if you have to change who you are and alter your personality around them, then that is, again, it's a red flag that this is not for you. This person is not for you. It's not for your highest, greatest good. It's not going to help you be ambitious. The next one is they make your healing about them, never about you. I can't tell you how many people I have come into contact with that are just so psychotically narcissistic. And listen, we all are narcissistic. If we are all, each individually, the most important people to ourselves. Okay? Admit it. It's true. And if we weren't, we wouldn't even get out of fucking bed in the morning. But when someone else makes your healing about their shit, that is the ultimate fuck you. And I can't tell you how many people that I've met in my life that tell me this exact same thing. Like when I started healing, the person was upset because of this. When I started doing my spiritual journey, the person was angry at me for that. When I started making more money, or I started leveling up, or I stopped drinking or doing drugs or binge eating, and when I started really going to the gym, or I started doing yoga and breath work and meditation and sound healing and really trying to work on myself and eating healthy and whatever the fucking case may be, they make it about them. And you will hear it in the language that they say, the narrative that they speak, the words that they spell. Okay. You will know. And the body keeps a score. So if you're feeling some sort of way, you know it's true. The next one is number 19. You feel more relief than guilt when you avoid seeing them. Oh my God. It's like, you ever have those times where you make plans with someone and you're like, oh my God, yeah, that'll be so fun. And then the day comes and you're like, I want to fake my own death. That is, again, listen, I sometimes want to do that just not because I don't want to hang out with the person. I love the person. I'm fucking beat, or I have my period, or, I have a cold, or I just it's raining and I want to stay in and watch The Real Housewives, like whatever. But when you're avoiding them and you're saying no to plans and you're not showing up at the thing and it makes you feel better, that is, again, how God and spirit protects you and how the universe speaks to you. God's not going to come down and teabag you and be like, yo, slap you in the face with his wiener. Come on, dude. No. God speaks in synchronicities, in numbers, in signs, in feelings. That's how God speaks to you. And last but not least, number 20, how you know that the people closest to you are actually not good for you, they're toxic, is your body relaxes more around strangers than your quote unquote closest circle. I always tell people, I want you to look at the people around you. You are the sum total of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I think Jim Rohn said that. Rest in peace, Jim. And I think also, and I've talked about this in my book, Ambitchious. If you haven't bought it already, what the hell are you doing? Go down to the show notes. Go over to kbmsu.com and get that book. But I always say, look around at your circle. And if your circle is fucked up, you're not in a circle, you're in a cage. And only you can liberate and emancipate yourself from that cage. Sometimes when you're finding new people to be friends with and have in your inner sanctum, it can feel a little lonely. But in my opinion, what's more lonely than spending your precious human life around people who are genuinely not fucking happy for you? And they don't really care about you and they don't fucking really like you. And they're users and they're gaslighters and they're manipulators. Guys, please, we have to wake up. So many of the girls that I work with, so many of the things that are holding them back is the people that is surrounding them. And I hope that these 20 things made you think deeply. It gave you a little slap in the back of your head. And remember, at first, the universe and God will whisper. And then you might get a little whack in the back of your head. And then you might end up in a 2x4 to the head or a car crash head onto a tree. And I mean that both figuratively, and literally. And it's true, See, Stuart Wilde talks a lot about this. He's like, sometimes people's enlightenment is whacking a tree. And they get in a car accident, they lose a limb, or their husband dies in the car accident, and that's what finally wakes them up. Don't wait for something so catastrophic to happen to you to have you start really taking a consensus of what you're spending your time on and who you're spending your time with. Okay? So I hope that this gave you a little kick in the underpants. In the meantime, if you are ready to take your life to the next level, head on over to the show notes or wherever you listen to this podcast, scroll down, and set up a free, totally complimentary discovery call with me so I can see if it's a good fit for me and you to work together and what I actually think I can do to help you become more ambitious every day. In the meantime, share this podcast with everyone in your inner circle, whether they're toxic or positive. And in the meantime, don't forget to stay ambitious, and I'll see you next Tuesday.